This is This Week in Rec. How are you doing today, Izzy?
Good.
Good. Your power rankings came out yesterday, and I really enjoyed reading them.
Yeah.
I remember the days when you used to do both the power rankings, the predictions, and the predictions.
Yeah. That took up a lot of time because I like kind of digging into stats and looking at the teams and putting out little nuggets out there. So it's a relief to never have to do all three again. But that was a really stressful time.
What's your price?
John Price.
John Price is your price. Okay. A couple of things I want to touch on first. I did not see the Free Ballers versus Green Arrow game. Did you see it by chance?
I did not. I heard about it.
186 shots.
Yeah, I heard it was chaotic.
186. So I was like, that seems like a lot. Because one team had 89, the other had 79. There was some free throws. So I looked at the Gorillas Rebels yesterday, and it was like 121. Yeah. So I mean, like, what has to happen for both teams to combine for 186 shots?
There has to be no defense. That's the only thing. It's got to be really, really fast-paced, no defense. It's the only way it's the only way we can get up that many shots.
Okay, so since you didn't watch it, we won't dig too far into it. But All-Star game, 197 points for the West. And did you hear the Gophers beat Maryland tonight?
That's
sixth team in the nation, number 6 ranked team in the nation.
Is that our first win?
First Big Ten win. I didn't even know Maryland was in the Big Ten, so there you go. Okay, you had all of the predictions that you would have made if you would have predicted the top seed win. You predicted every game right except for Uncle Drew's Kids and the Shockers, yeah. And then UANO and Fob 5. So which one would you like to discuss first?
Well, we can go Uncle Drew's Kids and Shockers. I didn't watch the game. I saw the box score. The thing that surprises me is how the Shockers were able to – I mean, they won convincingly. How they were able to – they're not a big team. And Uncle Drew's Kids are pretty big. I think if off memory, I think Emmanuel and Rod were just awful shooting the ball. I think it was Rod and Emmanuel. It was somebody in Emmanuel who had a really bad shooting night, and that's kind of what sunk them. But the Shockers are impressive. What's funny is Magic Johnsons are the exact opposite, and it's literally Jake and Zhao. They're the only differences, I believe.
Yeah, just Jake and Zhao.
Well, I know, but it shouldn't be like a 5-win difference, during the season. And I highlighted them that they've been a surprise disappointment. Uncle Drew's Kids are obviously beatable. I wish I would have watched the game to figure out what they did. Maybe I'll pay Jake a few bucks to tell me the game plan, or maybe I'll steal Jake.
UANO, you mentioned how up and down they were throughout the season. They beat you guys tonight.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about that. Best you can.
Yeah. So our defense is really aggressive, and sometimes we take a lot of chances. The problem is tonight we shouldn't have done that because we didn't have Ant and Byrne back there to clean up any mess that we left off. Mike was guarding wings, and we didn't have anybody to protect the paint. Briggs didn't play enough minutes to really have an impact in the paint. So we got to know our personnel, know who's behind us, and we can't over pursue and let guys get to the hoop. So that's really what cost us. They got a lot of buckets, and one ref was really, really, really good, and the other ref was really, really, really bad. And we've had the issue before. It's not about being a bad ref. But if you're going to ref, you have to ref with conviction. You can't blow your whistle like half-ass, and you can't blow your whistle on a block charge, wait, and then decide.
So if you're going to get the wrong call, get the wrong call.
Get it wrong and have conviction and just be confident. You can't come and ref and be not. I mean, it's blood in the water. And certain people should not be reffing. I'm honest with you. I tell you who's good and who's bad. I tell you who's got potential and who doesn't. You have to listen to the players. That individual needs to never ref again. And I kindly suggested that she decline any sort of invite back to the reffing circles here in Fridley.
Thank you very much. Okay, so a couple of hypothetical Elite 8 matchups based on your power rankings that I wanted. Now, these are all Fridley-Bloomington matchups. I wanted you to kind of talk about what these could look like come May 3rd play-in games. Those are here.
May 3rd?
March 3rd play-in games. Those are here. Thank you. March 3rd playing games here. Before I get to this, I do want to make a few announcements. March 3rd playing games here, then March 9th in Bloomington, Sweet 16. All 23 teams will be making the postseason. That was the one and only Players Committee decision that we made this year.
We all get participation trophies at the end of the season as well.
So I just ask that if you plan on not showing up, because you fear like you're going to get destroyed, let us know, please, so that we can at least take you off. So the other one is, of course, we hired a new region coordinator, Zach Neubauer. His videos below here. He's the reason why the focus will no longer be dipping in and out of this camera, because
He fixed it.
he fixed it. I learned something from him today, which is fantastic. Very excited about that. Okay, hypothetical matchups. Fob 5, I had him hypothetically, see you later, Jason, at 2 or 3, versus a hypothetical footballers at 6 or 7. Now, I don't think Fob 5 is going to be at 2 or 3 now. We'll see. But Fob 5 footballers in the postseason Elite 8.
That actually would favor us. I mean, that's like a really good matchup for us. Guys that can't shoot and guys that we can kind of keep, within our reach. I mean, technically we can't, but if they can't shoot the ball, they're going to be within the paint area, and with our size and our aggressiveness, I think that's a good matchup for us.
Their attendance has been very good.
Yeah.
But Thursday nights, now they're going to likely avoid the play-in game, which is going to be huge. But they'll play Wednesday, Sweet 16, and then they're going to have to come up here for a potential Elite 8 game. We haven't had an Elite 8 forfeit in a long time, and I'm not saying they're going to forfeit, but you would think it would be risky. I mean, I thought there would be a forfeit by now. They've been in every single game. It's been fantastic. Yeah. I love those guys. So, okay, second hypothetical matchup. Uncle Drew's kids at, let's just say for sake of argument, at 4, Blazers at 5. Who do you have in this one?
I think Uncle Drew's kids would be favored in that one because they can actually match up with the Blazers' size. I think they could do well against Andre and probably not Jake. Jake gets up if the shot goes up without getting blocked, it's probably going in. So Jake gets his, and you just let him go. Hamill, they can match up with that. So the Blazers are the UDK of Fridley. They're bigger than everybody else. So that's a really good matchup for both teams. And I think UDK has the edge because I like their guard position more.
Potential 8-9 matchup, Supersonics, Squires.
Ooh, this is actually a bad matchup for the Squires and a bad matchup for the Sonics, which is funny because the Sonics thrive on pressure and chaos, and that's where the Squires typically falter. But then the Sonics tend to struggle against teams that are typically smart, protect the ball, and are a little bit more fundamental, and that's the Squires. So it depends on the Squires' old men. If they roll out of bed the wrong way, the Sonics would win that game.
What are the chances we get a footballers, free ballers matchup in either the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how it comes down, but that'd be fun. That'd be a good game. I think the footballers would have the advantage in that one.
You mentioned the term footballers and Final Four in the same sentence here, or you said Final Four appearance. Odds of that happening are what?
Attendance is important. Like if they can make the Fridley games, and I think matchups are important as well. If they play smart team, like a smart team, they'll lose. If they play a team that isn't very cohesive and isn't very organized, they'll win. They
are going to likely be, let's say, a 7 seed. Who's an ideal first-round matchup for them? UANO is going to jump, but free ballers might be at 10. Green Arrow's going to fall. Who's a potential matchup for them if they're 7?
The Bulls.
And that's a good matchup, you're saying?
I think that's a good matchup for the footballers for sure because Bulls are very unorganized. They don't pass the ball, and the footballers are just they're long on defense. They're quick to jump passes. They make it really difficult.
Really quick to jump passes. I like it. That's good.
That's for you guys. I mean, I didn't mean that, but they are. I mean, they make the court feel like it's like half the size when you're on offense. There's like no space because they're pretty active, and there's just athletes. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, it's a horrible matchup for the Bulls.
Okay, 2 seed. Well, your 2 seed loses. Your 3 seed loses. Your 5 seed loses. So we'll talk a little bit about Gorillas Rebels. I want to hear your thoughts on that. But who are the new top 4 right now? 2, 3, 5 all lose. So Gorillas at 1. Mm-hmm. You would think Shockers at 2.
Yeah.
Are we going to put Blazers, footballers? I mean, are the footballers going to race?
No, no. It'll be Gorillas, Shockers, Fob, and Blazers. Footballers will be 5.
Wow.
I mean, because you have to understand, Fob is still 5-2, and they have the head-to-head against the Blazers. They still have the best record in Fridley, and they beat the other 2 lost teams, and that's Free Ballers and Blazers. And they also have the advantage, I think, over the footballers for several reasons, schedule, and just kind of the history. It's going to be hard for the footballers to get in the top 4 unless they really close out the season well, and a couple teams end up with 3 losses.
Sonics, I want to give them credit where it's due. Last week I said they lost to the Monstars. They did not lose to the Monstars. In fact, they beat the Monstars tonight. They have beaten both UANO and Fob 5. You have them at 9 here. A Monstars win doesn't move them really. Still at 9?
Did anybody lose that 6, 7, 8?
Blazers, footballers, Squires.
The Squires won. Yeah, the Squires. Yeah, I think they won. But either way, even if they're 8 or 9, it's the same thing. Potentially the same matchup. I don't think the rankings matter.
But one of them
because
has to play a playing game, though.
One of them will have to play a playing game, and it'll probably be the Sonics because they lost the Green Arrow by like 40 points. And I think that'll hurt them. They have 2 really good wins, but if they finish the season 4-4, I forget who they play in the last game. But
no idea.
If they play if they're 4-4, they'll likely be in the playing games. If they're 5-3, I can see them sneaking in to the top 8 because they do have the win over Fob and they do have the win over UANO. UANO beating Fob was really big for them because it adds another marquee win.
Okay, so I want to say it was about 2 or 3 or 4 seasons ago. Someone came up to me and said, "This is the blank matchup between Rebels and Gorillas."
This is the blank matchup.
This is the number 16 matchup. Do you know how many times the Gorillas have played the Rebels?
18 times. I'm going to say 18.
They played each other. I don't know the answer.
Oh, I don't know.
They played each other every season, and they probably played each other 4 or 5 times in the postseason.
Yeah. After yesterday's win, I believe the Rebels are still up 2 in the all-time head-to-head. I think it's like 11-9 or 10-8, something high. Okay,
so talk about this matchup. I heard some information, but let's hear it from you.
The Gorillas are now playing Rebel. Like when we played the Rebels before, it was more of a Gorillas are finesse, and the Rebels are grinded out, and finesse always loses to the grinded out because we were soft. Over time, it started becoming more and more frustrating because they started killing us at the beginning of the franchise's head-to-heads. The last 5 or 6 games, it's actually been equally aggressive from both sides. I mean, both teams, neither team wants to lose, and the Gorillas are playing Rebels basketball. And the only way the Gorillas are going to beat the Rebels is if they play Rebels basketball, and that's kind of what we've done at this point. And when the refs don't call fouls and the Gorillas are playing Rebels basketball, that actually benefits the Gorillas because the Rebels are already really good at not getting fouls called on them. I mean, Jansen for some reason never draws fouls for whatever reason, and he fouls.
I have no comment. I have no comment on that.
So DuPont and Jansen, they get away with a lot of hand checking, a lot of fouls. And if the Gorillas can play that way, and they historically have not done well at hiding their fouls, if the refs swallow their whistles, that's advantage Gorillas because we have the advantage on offense. So those 2 refs that were there last night let's bring him back for the playoffs if the Rebels Gorillas play.
I don't know if that will happen.
Did you hear the?
I heard some things, and I'm going to confirm them with you after the game.
For those of you, I'll confirm it now. For those of you that were not there, after the first 4 minutes, like people were saying, "Oh, travel, oh, double dribble," Like,
absolutely.
And usually that's okay. It's usually when like you call refs, like, "Oh, it's a bad call," whatever. But the shorter one says, "That's it, no more. Next person that talks is getting teed up." All right. Well, fast forward, many different people having conversations. We get a Ryan Samuelson dribbles the ball off his leg, and we steal the ball. It might have been a foul. Well, Ryan Samuelson just loses his mind and gets in this guy's face, and he blows the whistle, and you think he's going to hit him with a tee. He blows the whistle, stops the game, and starts yelling at Ryan how he dribbled off his foot, and he goes, if you don't want to play, go sit down. And then Ryan's like, well, I didn't say I didn't want to play.
I kind of like this guy, actually.
He's like, go sit down. He's like, he's basically subbing him out for somebody else. He stopped he blew the whistle. He started blowing the whistle like 4 or 5 times. And I go, Chris, go take the technicals. So then Chris starts walking to the free throw line, and he's like, all right, white ball.
No
technical. I'm like,
I like this guy. I'm a fan of this guy. We're going to bring him back, actually.
Bring him back. Let's do it.
Do you have your keys?
Oh, yeah, I have my keys. So get this story, guys. Dream League, Monday night. I'm wearing a jacket, and this jacket's got a few extra pockets that some jackets don't have. I get to my car, and I can't find my keys. Try to flashlight with my phone, look in the car. It's not there. Check underneath the car. Maybe it fell on the ground. It's not there. I go back into Lifetime Fitness. Reid is just putting in stats. He's like, well, I'll take you home. Maybe you locked your keys in the car. Did you check all your pockets? Yep, I checked all my pockets. I get home, which is about a 20-minute trip from Target Center.
Yeah. Opposite side of where opposite.
Drops me off. My wife says, yep, I got your key. I go in to pick up my key, and I'm like, I can't believe I locked my key in the car. And she's like, did you check your pockets? And she touches my shoulder. And apparently I have a pocket in my shoulder that I put it in, and I didn't even notice. And it was sitting in my shoulder pocket. And I go to Reid, and I'm like, Reid, I'm sorry, man.
I got a lot of great fantasy football advice from you on the way there, so
yeah.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, I ended up extending Reid's night by about 45 minutes to an hour. But it was good. We broed out. We broed out. So.
What was that guy's name? Brocious?
Brocious, the bro.
Eric Brocious.
I miss him.
He was a good player. Okay, everyone. We will see you next week.